Welcome everybody. Today is the first episode of the Berkeley StEP interview series. And we have the pleasure of having with us Alessio Lorusso. Alessio is the founder and CEO of Roboze. And Roboze is a high precision manufacturer of 3D printer for a wide variety of industry, from oil and gas to automotive to industrial. I got to know Alessio because Alessio comes from my same region in the south of Italy, and he has represented in the last years, for sure, an inspiration for all the people that want to start new companies in Italy and all around Europe and the world. So thank you very much, Alessio, for being with us today, and it's a pleasure to have you with us.
My pleasure. Hi, everybody.
Okay, Alessio. So the first question that I have for you is about the history of Roboze, and I think talking with the people in our program, they are really interested to know more about how did you came with the idea of Roboze. I know that you were passionate about 3D printers since you were a teenager, basically. But what was your intuition behind Roboze, and how did you start the company, and why did you want to launch a 3D printer manufacturer?
Well, yeah, as you said, I started to do this kind of stuff as my passion, because this was my passion. This is actually my passion. So everything started from the scratch, let's say, So I used to work in my dad's company, a small CNC shop where I learned everything about mechanics, mechatronics, etc. So I used to work since I was probably 14, 15 during the summertime, and I learned a lot during that time. So I started the company after several years of training, and after doing this as my passion in my free time in my home. So I spent probably 4 or 5 years before setting the company in pure experimentation, pure training in my home.
Okay, so basically everything started from your home, which is great. It seems like a Silicon Valley story. A lot of really successful companies here in Silicon Valley actually started from their home, from the garage of their home. So it's like seems like a pattern that continues also. Okay, that's great. Thank you. Like, I have another question about the team, right? You are definitely the face and the founder of the company, but I'm sure that when you had the idea of starting a real company, a company that could actually provide product to the end customer, one of the key tasks for you was to create a team around your idea. And I think it's important for new startups and for new people that want to launch their own company to understand how did you motivate the people that are working with you right now since the beginning. How did you ensure that all the people in your team were actually committed towards the objective or the goal of creating a company? I think that, my question is related to the team. How did you inspire your team? How did you commit your team to pursue your objective, your business goals?
Well, yeah, this is a very interesting point. I mean, this is probably 20–25% of my time every day. How to get people on board, how to feel them very motivated, how to involve people as much as I can, in the process, in the decision, etc., etc. And I think it's very important in Roboze. This is part of our culture. Create aggregation between our team members, and let the people know that they are important for every decision we take in the company. So this is very important, and I like so much, because you feel the people work with motivation. You feel that they feel part of the story. So it's very important that they feel this kind of emotion, this kind of feeling about the company, because at the end of the day, if they work motivated, if they are happy to come working, if they are involved in this way in the company, in the business, they start to think about the company also where they are not working, when they are not working. And when they are not working, that's the very important time to have right ideas. So you create a very interesting mechanism if you are able to involve the people in the company life. So this is a very important part of my job.
Okay, that's important. I think this is something that we tell also to our startup, like to find ways to commit your team and share your objective together, get everybody involved in the decision, the key decision, even if they are not executives within the company, but it's really essential.
When I'm in the company here, because I travel a lot in normal times, let's say, not during lockdown. But when I'm in the company, I used to spend 30, 40 minutes every morning, early in the morning, and I used to go to every team member just to say hello, buongiorno, how are you doing today? So it's a very small thing you can do, but it's very, very important, because you provide, I would just say, it's like create relationship with your team members. It's not about a relationship between a boss and an employee. It's about a relationship between people, no? So just talking, but really 10, 15 seconds. It's important just to say hello, everything is okay, can I do something? What you did during the weekend, something like this, very stupid, but it's very important to create the right feeling in the people that are working for you.
That's great. How many employees do you have right now?
We are almost 60 here in the company. Here, yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you. So another question that I have, and I think it's important, is actually related to your product. So right now, I noticed that you have different kind of 3D printer that you sell. So you have a wide range of different printers for different applications with different level of precision, I assume. But when you started, your first prototype, what we call it an MVP, your minimum viable product, your first product, the first product that you use actually to test with your customer at the end. How did you come up with the final version of your product? I know that your technology right now is patented, so some of your technology is patented. But how did you come up with the first product, your very first 3D printer, the very first one that you use to promote your product and to test it with your customer? And did you have any difficulties in developing your first product, and how did you overcome those difficulties?
Well, a million of difficulties. I mean, the first product was a nightmare, complete disaster. It was very bad. I mean, look, if you try to do a perfect product, you would spend probably 5-6 years. It means that you will go out into the market when the market is already done. So I'm not saying that it's important to introduce in the market products that are not ready. But if you wait that the product is 100% ready, you will wait for your entire life. I mean, you will not introduce any products for your life. So it's important to arrive at the right moment where the product is ready at 85, 90%, be very transparent with your first customers and say, look, the product is almost ready, but it's not 100% ready. I will provide you at 20% discount. I will provide you some specific conditions. I will provide you something, but you need to know that the product is not ready, but we want to start working with you. So be very transparent, but go to the market, because when you go to the market and when the customers start to use your product, they will start providing feedbacks. And these feedbacks are very, very important to do the final tuning of the product, because you can't do this kind of activity yourself, because you know how to use your product. You have a different perspective. You need the customer perspective to close the engineering of the product. So this is very important. So the first product was very bad, in my opinion, compared to what we do today. No, for that time was great, but wasn't 100% ready. So feedbacks from customers were very important at that time, and they are very important also today.
Oh, wow, this is actually, you are anticipating one of my questions, you know, related to the go-to-market strategy. If you want to share with us, if you can, how did you find your first customer? So how was the process? How did you find it? How did you convince your first customer? Because I think when you interact with businesses like the one that you interact with, you know, war-renewed organization, really big companies. How did you find your first customers, and how did you decide that that was the right one to try and, you know, test the application of your product?
Do you really want to know that?
Yeah. Yeah.
No, I mean, we printed different benchmarks. So we printed some parts with our 3D printers, and we printed some parts with competitors' 3D printers. Okay, so we introduced a new revolutionary mechatronics movement called beltless technology. So today, but also at that time, our 3D printers are the most accurate into the market, because we use gears to move our machines. So we don't use belts made in rubber-like materials. So our 3D printers are 6 times more precise than all other 3D printers in the market. But one thing is to say this, another thing is to let the customers understand, look at the parts printed by our technology and by our competitor technology. So we printed different benchmarks with our machines and with our competitors' machines. And in this way, you had the possibility to really understand and really see the differences. And with these parts and with the 3D printer packed in my car, I started to drive to customers close to our first headquarters. So with my 3D printers in the car, and I unpacked the machine for the first 10, 15 customers, and I started to promote. I offered them to use for 2-3 days and give me feedback, etc., etc. And on 15 customers, 5 accepted, and on these 5 accepted to do this training, then 2 bought the machine. So I started this way. I started giving the possibility to the customer to try, to use the machine, and have a real feedback.
Okay, I think, thank you very much for sharing this. I think it's important and really relevant and resonates with us a lot, because we always advise early startup to go out there and talk with your potential customer. You know, you need to talk with them. You need to show your product, the service you're working on, like, and getting the feedback. It's really important. And
that's very important. It's very important to go to the customers, talk to them, be very transparent, and be very honest. If the product is not ready, you need to tell them, because otherwise you lost the chance. Okay, so you need to be very transparent, very honest, but let them understand really, practically, what the advantages are.
Yeah, yeah, and right now, as far as I understand about your business, you actually produce high precision component for specific industry. Like, you sell the 3D printers to end application for a wide variety of industry. I'm a fan of motorcycles, for example. I noticed that you produce some of the component of the MotoGP motorcycles. So some of your clients actually use your 3D printers in order to produce one of the most, you know, important component in the motorcycles that they use to race, for example. Or what are other potential applications for your clients? And right now, how do you did you target specific sectors? So I know that you work a lot with the oil and gas sector, for example, that you work a lot with the automotive sector. But in your go-to-market strategy today, that you have a fully functional company that generates revenue, and you go-to-market today, how did you like target your customer? Did you have like a specific set of customers that you target, or you just like you're just out there for the market and for whatever applications?
Yeah, that's a very good point. We are very focused, and I think that one of the best points to touch is about focus, because the market is so large. There are probably 50, 60 different applications for 3D printing. You can't do the best in all 60 applications. It's impossible. So we decided to be very focused in high value sectors. So today we are very concentrated, we're very focused in aerospace, which is probably 40% of our business, oil and gas 20-25%. And then we are also present in motorsport, automotive, in space application, and in all the applications of high value where the performances of the parts, thanks to the performances of the materials we manage, and the accuracy of the parts are the most important thing. So we compete in all the segments where the performances are the key to solve problems, okay? So in oil and gas, in offshore platforms, in rockets that goes to the, I don't know where, we serve different rockets companies in the world, in Formula One, in MotoGP, we have some Formula One racing teams that have our machines at the track, so they're capable to print last-minute parts before the race. So imagine how this can be very revolutionary and game-changing for them. No? We are very present in the aerospace, so we serve the major parts of large manufacturers in the world, both for military and for commercial aircraft. So all the applications where performances are the most important thing, we are into. And that being said, we are very focused in 5-6 applications, 5-6 markets. So we are not in jewelry, we are not in architecture, we are not in other sectors where performances are not very important. So architecture models or aesthetic or design, we're not in. Okay. So we are very focused, and we deliver, we are very concentrated to deliver the right message always to the customer. So we prefer to say no to one customer that contact us for architectural model and design model, because we want to be very focused. And I think that this is the key to differentiate yourself from your competitors. Be very focused. So when someone needs something that overperforms the application, they need to contact Roboze. If they just are looking for a 3D printer, we are not the right company, because probably you don't need our 6 times more precise 3D printers. So we want to be very clear.
Yeah, yeah. That is. Thank you very much for sharing this. Actually, you know, a follow-on question on this. So because I assume that technology is really important, is really relevant in your industry, and how do you? What's your idea? How do you guarantee that your 3D printers, since they are used in so high-performance application, will actually deliver always the best of the technology out there? How did you ensure that you will produce? Now, you already produce some of the most precise 3D printers in the world, but how did you ensure that Roboze will be in a position to continue to be at the technology edge in the future?
Well, there is no secret about that. It's about a combination of factors, and it's about a combination of things. I mean, we usually do 7-10 patents a year, but it's not the patent that guarantees that you will always be on top. No, it's about a combination of things. It's about a combination of speed, company culture. So was what I was saying before. No, let the people very motivated because they need to have every new ideas every day. So it's very important that part. It's important to do pattern. It's important to don't lose your speed, because when you grow, and this is the problem we are facing now. So my problem in this moment is try to figure out how to massively grow, but in the meantime continue to have the same mentality, so the same speed we have, because at the end of the day we didn't invent something that our competitors cannot, because we are talking about billions companies. Okay, our competitors, HP, General Electric, they can do whatever they want. They have infinite money. Okay, but we were faster. That's the thing. We were faster and we thought out of the box. So the real danger is that if you lose this, and if we lose this, we lose our nature, and we become as they are. No, so we become slow, and we lose our lateral thinking, let's say. Okay. So the problem is now for robots. The problem, it's a very good problem to manage, to be honest, because so what we are growing, maintain the same mentality, maintain the same speed, because if we lose our speed, we lost ourselves.
Yep. Yeah, thank you. Absolutely, I agree with you. I agree with you. And actually, you know, if you think about Roboze and who are your competitors, actually, it's incredible what you have done. If you compete with this multi-billion-dollar company that actually, have not been able to innovate as you have been able to in this specific segment with your focus. I think it's great. It's incredible. So the last part of my interview, I want to go back and do a little bit of, it's a sort of game. Like let's do a flashback. Let's think about yourself in front of a venture capital, and you want to raise money for Roboze. I know that you have closed around at the end of 2018, if I remember well, with a counterparty in Italy that provided you funding. How would you pitch Roboze in 30 seconds?
Roboze can help you in digitalizing your inventory, reducing your cost and your time. Now imagine this: what can be the value of this operation for worldwide companies who spend billions in warehousing and in spare parts every day? We want to digitalize 1% of worldwide warehouses. It means billions. And we're already doing this, and we already have hundreds of customers that are doing this with us.
Thank you, Alessio. And a question on this: how did you went through the fundraising process actually? Because if you have a company that produces revenue, that has already tested, has already found product market fit, as in your case, you have printers that are out there working for famous companies and producing parts for famous companies, well-renowned organizations. So you have clients. How did you went through the fundraising process? Why did you pick the partner that you pick at the end, Equiter, if I remember well, and why did you fundraise at the end of the day? Because I think because you want to foster growth, you want to grow, the perspective of your company, you want to go global. What was the idea behind your fundraising process?
Well, fundraising is another job, man. It's a different job. I mean, if you start the process, you need to take into consideration that you will spend 50–60% of your time talking with investors. And after you raise money, you will continue to spend 50% of your time talking with your current investor to tell them how it's going the business. So it's very important that you need to understand this. So it's another job. So you need to have the time to do that. It means that you need to have other people in the company who manage other stuff, and it's very important to know. But like, it's like a marriage. I mean, venture capitalists need to choose your company, but you need to choose the right venture capitalist, because there are thousands of venture companies, but it's very important to find the right fit with first with the people in the companies, in the venture companies, and then with the company, because there are a multitude of things that can go wrong. So you need to calculate everything. So it's a risk for them, but it's a very high risk for you, because if you choose not the right partner, it's a big problem to manage. And a very important thing is do benchmarking. So okay, they're investing in you, but you are also providing an opportunity to them. If your business is solid, if your vision is solid, if the market you are going to approach is fantastic, you are providing an opportunity to them as well. So you need to do benchmarking with the companies they already invested in. So ask them to talk with the CEOs of the company they already invested. Ask them especially how did they manage the situation where things went wrong? Because at that time you understand really who is your investor. Because when the things go very good, it's perfect. No, it's a very nice part of the marriage. But when the things go wrong, in that time you understand who your investor is. So ask to the CEOs, how did they manage that situation? Did they help the CEO, or did they say, dear, look, it's your problem. We invested, now you need to manage this? Because it's very important to understand this when the things will go wrong, if they go wrong, but it's a possibility.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And the final two questions, actually, I think for people and for people out there here in Berkeley, here in Silicon Valley, or all over, that want to start their own companies, and they are working to start their own companies right now. Is there anything that you have wanted to know before starting your life as an entrepreneur? If there is one thing that you wanted to know before, what was that?
Oh, yeah. Nobody said to me that this wasn't just a business decision or professional life decision. No, this was and is every day a life decision. So if you decide to be an entrepreneur, you will not have a personal life and a professional life. This is all together. So you need to take this into consideration. And you will not have time to do business and time to have fun. I'm not saying that you will not fun, okay? But the first 4 or 5 years, you need to be 150% committed to do what you are doing. I mean, I used to work 15 hours per day, including Easter, my birthday, everything. So it's very important to know and to be fully aware about that. So you are taking a decision of life. So you are changing your life. And to change your life, you need to take this into consideration. No?
Thank you.
So it's very important.
Wow, thank you so much for this. I think it's something that we try to stress every time. Also, you know, the level of commitment. It's probably the most important thing if you want to be an entrepreneur. And people that are not committed will never succeed in this place. It's super important. The final question is, you know, for our teams, you know that we are a pre-accelerator program. We help young founders here in the Bay Area to just launch their own company here at Berkeley. And what kind of advice, if there is any, that you would like to give to the startups, particularly in this initial phase, the there is one or two advice that you would like to give, particularly during this challenging times, you know, and all the pandemic we're facing right now, and probably there are a lot of our founders that are a little bit scared about what can be the situation of the market after we solve this problem. So, yeah, if you have any advice, it would be great to.
Well, honestly speaking, I'm not in a position to provide any advice because I do errors every day. So this is part of the story. So I'm learning new things every day. So it's very important to talk with people, to share your ideas, but sometimes you will find people that will say to you, no, look, this is a bad idea, this is you will not succeed, etc., etc. No? Because people are usually scared, or they tend to minimize something that in your mind probably is huge, but they tend to minimize. So talk with people, but go very straight to the street that you are drawing for your future, and be very committed about that. If you are 100% sure that the direction where you are going to is the right one, go.
Thank you very much, Alessio. Thank you for being with us today. Was a great pleasure. I'm pretty sure that our startup will be super happy to hear about your story, and thank you for all the experience that you share with us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My pleasure.